who has been set up, and he's been set up for the murder of 4 people, which he didn't do, which is not to say he doesn't murder people or kill people when he needs to. And in attempting to reverse this situation, he gets, he finds himself stumbling upon a much bigger plot, which involves the major players in the financial and Secret Service world. And it's a breakneck thriller, and all those good things. Yes, my first career was as a writer. I was a writer for about 10 years, but I didn't find my thing, didn't find my mojo, and so I moved into the city, into the financial sector, and it was a fascinating time, and I quickly decided to start my own company, and that was eventful, but I sold it just before the credit crunch, and then I worked in the city for another year during the credit crunch, which was fascinating, beyond fascinating, and it's those experiences that I drew on that allowed me to write the setup. I couldn't have written the setup before that. And so, I worked in the city, and it was very, very important to the writing of the setup. Yeah, I would say I was born on the wrong side of the tracks, and that's a bad thing if it sort of turns you into a crook or makes you go through life paranoid. But it's a good thing if you get your street smarts from it, and it never leaves you actually. You know, you do go through life and you walk down the street and you see things in a certain way. You sort of, you spot the sort of criminal behaviour, and you sort of, you know what's dangerous, you know what's not. And that's the situation Mike Byrne finds himself in. He finds himself in a situation where everybody's his enemy, and it was really important to be able to get into that mindset. And yeah, so my background definitely helped in that, definitely. The hardest part of writing the book is probably, it may sound a bit odd, but believing you're a novelist. Yeah, well, I would hope so. I mean, I've got an awful lot of ideas, and I've got a lot of books plotted out, which my agent and publishers know about, and we're very keen to get on with them. He's going to be here for a long time to come, and that's why I put a lot of work into it. I spent a long time, I spent a year thinking about his character before I even thought about plot, because I took the view, if I'm going to spend a long time with one person, I want to be really excited by him, and that's, I mean, now that I've done that, the amount of stories that are there for him to get involved in are quite legion, So yeah, I do hope he's around for a long time to come.
Okay.
Helen Mirren would be my second choice. My first choice, it's funny, I know it's quite normal to sort of fantasize and dream about who will play your hero, but I kind of don't do that, and it's one of the good habits I picked up from the city is focus. And I don't think I had focus before the city, and I have much better focus now. And for me, if I start dreaming about the film and this scene and this actor, I don't think I'd get anything written. For me, it's actually about sit down, write the novel, help with the marketing, write another novel, help with the marketing, and that's and other people have to deal with that. I don't want to get sucked into that world. If it works for you, great. It doesn't work for me. I meant to say Mike Byrne. I think it depends on the setting. I think if Bond had any gadgets, that could be a surefire. Close up, you've got to back Bond up to a point, haven't you? But I do think Byrne might outwit everybody. He's got brains as well as fists. The changes happened during the rewrites, and it's funny. I finished the second novel, and the tone is slightly different. It's darker, and because I feel darker about the world, and I write about things in the world, and part of you sort of thinks, wow, should I have made the first one slightly darker? But in a way, that's quite dangerous as well, because you've got to let things go. You've got to say, look, I wrote it at that moment in time, put it in the box, and I'm going to write the next one. And you just have to kind of move on. It is, you do always sort of think to yourself, oh, now that I've done this down here, You know, should I have done this back there? But you can't lead to anything. You've got to just get on with the next thing. So no. Yeah, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. So I do have a title, but I think Penguin would then kill me, so we'd all be dead if I was to take that title. And the title was changed actually. The first book, the setup, was meant to be called The Ponzi. And too many people were saying, what's a Ponzi? And it's one of those things where in America everyone knows what a Ponzi is because of Bernard Madoff. But actually in Britain, well, not so much. And actually the setup was always kind of the other title kicking around so in my head, so it was easy to change that. I would say a surprising amount of quite a breadth. I fell in love with movies because of Woody Allen. Saw a season of his films when I was 7, and it made me realise that was the first time I woke up to cinema, and I just thought it was breathtaking to me. And then Star Wars came out. When I was at the right age, I was about 7 or 8, and Star Wars came out, and Jaws came out, and just everything changed. It was a real golden era. And it was the end of the independent directors, you know, it was the end of Brian De Palma's and Coppola, even Spielberg in the sort of semi-independent scenario, and George Lucas, of course, the biggest independent of all. And yeah, that was quite explosive. I mean, my DVD collection has got Hong Kong action movies, French comedies, every major action, so all the Luc Bessons, all the Bournes, obviously, you know, all these things. Lots of comedies. I do have a good comedy. So quite broad actually, quite broad. Year dot. You know, I keep talking about Woody Allen, and whilst I don't want to be Woody Allen, I was mesmerised by him. I saw the season of his films when I was young, about 7. Wow, that's just the most fun anyone I know is having. And so that was it. That was the genie was out of the bottle at that point. John Steinbeck is kind of my hero. Not that I think you see a lot of his influence in my work, but the people I keep revisiting are Rem Chandler, you know, talking Big Sleep, those sort of things. Dashiell Hammett, the Maltese Falcon. You know, I've got a huge admiration for people like John Grisham, Michael Crichton. You know, the way that they can take a fantastic action thriller. Because I love to be entertained. You know, I know people love to be entertained. I don't care how clever people are. We love to be entertained and diverted and escapism. But the great thing about Grisham and Crichton is they have something to say as well. That, you know, you get real value for money. You don't just get a great plot and a great story. You kind of learned about an issue as well, or been challenged or provoked. And I like that a lot. I think that's really interesting. And I like, you know, I would aspire to delivering that extra layer. Yeah, I'm quite naughty. I jump around a bit. But I've just finished Carl Malante's Matterhorn, which is the most fantastic, unsentimental take on the Vietnam War. Huge recommendation for that. I'm just rereading The Big Sleep by Rem Chandler, which is just wonderful. And my next book, which I'm kind of keep dipping into, I'm being a bit naughty, is Jennifer Egan's A Visit from the Goon Squad, which already looks great, just great. Right, just right. You know, the worst thing you ever wrote is better than the best thing you never wrote. You know, it's completely understandable. It's very hard to have a job and write. It's very, you know, you have to get into the zone and all these things, but you've got to write. There's no other way around it. You know, you can't, you know, sort of getting excited about an idea here or talking to your friend about this isn't writing. Writing is 100,000 words. You know, it's a big chunk of story, and then you're writing. And the more you do it, the better you get, you know, and there's no shortcuts, you know, and at some stage you realise that and you do it, you know, and you get to this terrific result, hopefully. Definitely a very full-bodied read. You've said you read the book, and there's a scene in there where they're eating spaghetti with a proper Sicilian recipe, and I got very excited about choosing the wine for that meal, you know, and you know it wasn't something I did lightly. You know, it's you know, the meal was very important to me for plot purposes and what have you, and there was no way I was just going to throw wine in there. You know, choosing the right wine is such a pleasure.